And welcome back. So in this video, I'll be walking you through what we call modifier and constructor. So what are they? So basically modifiers are what you use to run some checks in your code to ensure that a particular condition is met. It's similar to using require statements and all that to ensure that this particular condition is met before this person can call the function or do anything on that particular function. And also, you can also use modifier as a way of avoiding repetitions in your code. So if you are going to be needing require in several places or functions in your code, you can put them in a modifier at once so that you can just be calling that modifier across those functions instead of repeating that require statement and all that. So on the other hand, constructors are what we see in Solidity and some other typed languages whereby you are able to when the contract is deployed, the constructor is only called once. So the constructor is like a function that is only called once at the point of deploying the contract. It can only be executed once. So after that, you can't execute it anymore. And you also use the constructor to set the initial values for the um contract, or if you have some state values, you want to set their initial value inside the constructor. So let's take, for instance, we have this. Okay, for instance, we have address, and then I'm saying that this address is accessing giving the variable name of owner. And I want to create a constructor. In this constructor, I'm going to set the initial value of owner to be equals to the message dot sender. So what that means is that at the point of deploying this contract, I'm simply saying that the person deploying this contract, that's the message dot sender, the person calling this contract or deploying it is the owner of the contract. So and then I can create modifiers too. I can say modifier. So modifier is a keyword in Solidity. So I can call this only owner. So instead of repeatedly using require statement to say that only owner can call this function, I can just put that require statement here and say and check if the message does send that the person calling this contract is equal to the owner. And then you are not the owner. So this I'm going to use whenever I am maybe I have a function called change owner. Oh, okay. So basically, I have a function called change owner, and then I call it public. It's a public function that is going to is a public function that is going to be able to allow whoever is calling this function to change address. So, but basically, not anybody can call these contracts, and that's why we want to make sure of that. And to do that, we are going to say only owner. So, in other words, the only person that can call this contract is the owner of the contract. That's the only person that can call this function. So, we can put this owner here is equal to the new owner. Okay. So, what this contract is simply doing is just putting a modifier to check whether the person calling the contract, wherever this only owner is being passed as a modifier, or is checking if that person is the owner. So instead of me coming to, like, say I copy this code and put it here, and then maybe I have other functions that will also require this check, only this owner modifier handles that. And then this constructor sets who the owner is at the point of deployment, set the value for us. So we can run this code as we have just compiled it. So let's deploy. So now if we test this code, we'll see that if you are not the owner, so let's change. So this person that deployed the contract. So let's change the address to this, and then maybe want to change the owner to this contract address. We should get an error, okay? So as you can see, there's an error here. The transaction has reverted. You are not the owner. So, but if I switch back to this caller, that's this deployer address, and then I put a new address, I can actually like change the owner address without getting an error. So as you can see, there's no error. And now the new owner is now this guy with the address that ends with C4. Sorry, it's not the address that ends with B4. Now, still on this particular first owner, the initial deployer of the contract, if I try to do change owner again, it should error because it's no longer the owner. Ownership has changed to this other guy. So this guy can actually call this function and maybe give back ownership to this guy. So let me copy this guy's address and then come back to this other guy that is the new owner and paste the address of the first owner so that we can just pity him and give him back ownership. So if I do change, so he's now the owner of the contract. All right, guys. So that's it for modifier and constructor. If you have any question, please do it to drop it in the comments section. And if you enjoyed this video, do it to subscribe to my channel, share this video, and like it. And I will see you next time.